Meeting is called to order, Southampton Town Planning Board, Thursday, January 11th, 2024. In absence of the chair, I'll call the roll. Chair LaFaro is absent. Secretary Burke is absent. Member Catalanato.
Present.
Member Butu.
Speak.
Member
Present.
Neely is absent. Member Fulham. The
Present.
chair is present. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just briefly mention, in the event of an emergency, you exit this room utilizing either of the two rear doors, proceed to the main floor using either staircase, and exit the building utilizing either the front or the side rear door. I think we're going order. Item 1 on the agenda is Sunrise at Spionk. Do we have notice, council?
We do.
Kate, are you up for reading?
Yes.
Thanks.
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, January 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan special exception application entitled Sunrise of Spionk. The site plan special exception application is for the construction of a 50 by 60 square foot metal building with an office and 2 storage bays and outdoor storage on a 1.81 acre parcel located in the L40 zoning district, Aquifer Protection Overlay District, Central Pine Barrens Compatible Growth Area, and situated at 1313 Spionk Riverhead Road, Hamlet of Spionk, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-301-2-15.
Very good. Is there a representative here? Great. Please use the podium, state your name, and just briefly summarize the application.
Sean Mundinger, I'm partners with Charlie, I know you guys might be familiar with him. Sunrise to Spionk, looking to build a 50 by 60 building for our business. We are gonna occupy it, nothing's changed from the beginning. I think we were at like the tail end here.
Is that the application on the map on the right?
Correct, yep.
I'm gonna try to put it up here.
And what is the square footage here, do you know?
50, 60, is it 3,000?
50 by 60, 3,000
square feet.
Okay. You have some nice south-facing roofs. Any contemplation of solar on there?
Probably not. It's matching all the other buildings next to us, green roof. I don't think we're gonna do solar. We have very little electric usage.
Sell it back?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, let's make our pitch. Very good. Questions or comments from the board members? Is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard on Sunrise to Spionk? Anyone in Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Very good. Here, no public comment. I'll entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period.
Motion?
Motion by Craig.
Second.
Second by Kate. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We have 4 yes, 3 absent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item is Karofsky subdivision pre-application. Do we have notice, council?
We do.
We do. Craig, you up for reading?
Sure. Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, January 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled Karofsky. The application proposes a 2-lot subdivision on a 64,681 square foot property situated in the R20 zoning district in the high priority water quality improvement zone located at 20 Central Avenue, Hamlet of East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-340-1-31.
Very good. Welcome.
Hi, good evening, board members. Heather Wright for the applicant, 48H Main Street, West Hampton Beach. So as you can see, this is a simple proposal of a simple 2-lot subdivision of a parcel that's 64,681 square feet. It'll create 2 lots that will conform to zoning. Lot 1 will be 28,317 square feet, and that's the currently improved parcel right here. Lot 2 will be 36,364 square feet, and the area less the flag is 33,650 square feet. So this proposed subdivision is very similar to the subdivision that this board approved in 2021 to the south right here, which also created two similar conforming lots. As you can see, the property is currently improved with a single-family dwelling, 3 wood frame storage sheds, a storage building with 4 garage doors, and 1 7-car block building with attached wood frame storage, all of which are legal and part of the 1987 pre-existing certificate of occupancy. And then there were subsequent COs for an addition in 1994, and then the swimming pool in 1999. So I think it's pretty straightforward.
Good. I mean, for the benefit of the board, here's an instance where we have 2 lots in the R20 zone in excess of the 40,000 square feet, where we're creating the larger lot in the rear, the flag lot, to the greatest extent possible, to create more square footage in the back. So it's a design goal, section 292. Any other questions for board members? Is there anyone from the public wishing to be heard on Karofsky? Do we have anyone in Zoom? Excuse me? One person? Bring him on.
We're not hearing you.
Okay, can anybody hear us?
Yep, we got you.
All right. So we're the neighbor, the new.
Could we get your name, sir, for the record? Your name?
Name's Paul Pursuti.
Paul Studi?
Paul Pursuti.
Paul Pursuti, okay. Well,
We're at 21st Central and East Quad. So we're the new house that's next to this proposed subdivision. We have no problems with the subdivision. Request, I guess, I don't know if we went through a lot of this stuff when we had to do our subdivision here, but I guess on that north side, buffer, some type of privacy or whatnot, shrubs would be our request. But as far as the subdivision goes,
is it planted there now? Is there vegetation there now?
no, there's nothing. It's, we put a fence up, we fenced in our property when we built this house, so there's been no improvements to the north or west of us.
Okay.
Or as any type of privacy or anything like that, so we've been doing it all, so. And they made us do it on the, I guess on the south side, when we did our on the south side. When we did our subdivision, they made us put up a privacy fence, and we had to leave a buffer, 20-foot buffer of plantings, so. That's kind of standard practice, we have the same request as well.
Great.
We
Well,
spoke to the new owner, well, not the owner, we spoke to Karofsky about it, and he was all on board for doing some planting, so should be an issue. Just wanted it for the record, I guess.
good. It's important to put it on the record. Great, thank you for your comments, Paul.
Thank you.
Can I just make two quick points? My client wanted me to also put on the record that he did have a conversation with the Prosciuttis, and he has no problem working with them on appropriate screening between the
Okay.
2 lots. I would point out, though, that the buffer that was imposed on the subdivision to the south, that lot was wooded, so I believe it was to maintain the existing trees that were there. Here, it's completely cleared, so there is no, quote-unquote, existing buffer there, but certainly my client would be willing to work
Yeah.
with the neighbor in having appropriate screening.
Okay, good. That's great. Great to hear. There's no one else on Zoom, is that correct?
Yeah, that's all.
Very good. Absent any additional comment, I'll entertain a motion to close the 30-day written comment period.
Motion?
Motion by Kate, second by Craig. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I guess it's item 3, Taha 1. Is it called, formerly Seashore Stables? I like that name better. George, you up for reading?
Sure, yeah.
Counsel, do we have
We have
notice? You are free to read, George.
Please take notice that that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, January 11, 2024, at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan application entitled Taha One LLC, also known as Seashore Stables. The site plan is for 2 storage sheds, a therapy shed, a quarantine barn, a terrace, pergola, a sand paddock, and alterations to the existing outdoor riding ring associated with an existing horse farm located at 4 Whispering Fields Court, which was approved on March 9th, 2006, on a 12.725 acre parcel of land located in Aquifer Protection Overlay District, located in Agricultural Overlay District, located on the westerly side of Whispering Field Court, northerly side of Head of Pond Road and Scuttle Hole Road, Hamlet of Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-80-2-9-20.
Mr. Bennett, somewhere during your presentation, you're gonna have to tell us what a therapy shed is for horses.
I had to ask that myself.
Does it involve a
Sorry.
couch with
God, I wish I had
tissues
a-
and a box of tissues?
I should be quicker and have a better rejoin. I should have been ready for that. I'm sorry. It has to be, the horse has to be able to change itself, I guess maybe I can say that.
Exactly.
So Brent Reiner is here with me tonight. My name is John Bennett from Bennett and Reed. It's as Mr. Muta's reading of the notice stated, this is an existing approved horse farm, I should say. In around 2006, oops, I'm sorry, or maybe subsequent to that, I don't know, but in any event, it's in the file. These 3 buildings, to the north, I guess that is, of the main indoor, were approved as storage and a quarantine barn. So these have already received site plan approval, but the then owner, I guess maybe shame on me, I should have followed up, but the then owner was a lawyer, so I assumed that he would have known, but I should have been more thorough. I gave him the site plan approval that the board approved for these 3 buildings, and he never got a building permit. So they sat there and were used, and
Okay.
maybe it was his fault, maybe it was mine, but, you know, put it on my shoulder. He's never gotten a building permit for it, so that was some time ago, so. And then he sold the property, and the new owners became aware of the fact that there was no building permit issued for those. So we're really here to re-approve, because the site plan approval for them lapsed.
It's like a reapproval.
Yes, like a
Yeah.
reapproval for this. That's that, so. Then the paddock, it turned out there's a sand paddock, so we wanna make that a little bit larger, not much, but we also wanna shift it, because it turned out that some of the sand paddock was in a drainage easement. You could make the argument that it didn't affect the drainage easement, but better course to keep it out of the drainage easement. So that's what's happening there. On the sand paddock, there's a proposed 50 by 30 raised patio. It's a viewing patio for people watching equine activities occurring in the sand paddock. We went to the Agricultural Advisory Committee as well as the ARB, and not that it's binding on you, but neither one of them had any issue with it, and we hope you would agree. I looked at that. My concern was a little bit about the covenant, but the covenant, as most of these covenants allow compatible recreational uses, which is typically has been fairly liberally expanded to include equestrian activities. A couple of other things. There's a little sand paddock here that we want to put in, and again, it's not any closer than any of the other. That's in the case that there needs to be a small quarantine for a horse that's ill. And I've been told that, because I asked the question as well, it's a tiny little building. What happens is sometimes they separate the foals from the mothers, and they actually, as part of the maturation process, put them in a warm, safe environment. It was here The existing full therapy run-in, it was at 24 feet. We've shifted it over to 125 feet from the adjacent property, the closest adjacent property, just by trying to get everything away from, as much as possible, from the neighbors. So all of this stuff that you're seeing here, all these paddocks and everything like that, it's already, other than what I pointed out to you, it's already been approved. And indeed, these three buildings were approved but lapsed, and just, no one ever got a building permit for them. So blow up here, Brant's here, if you have any questions of him or any questions of me.
So when you say those buildings were approved but lapsed, were they constructed?
Oh, yeah, they were constructed. They were constructed, the owner, I don't know, I'm sorry.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm being very honest. I gave the owner the approval, the special exception approval. These were all fully had, the indoor had a building permit. What happened was this was staged. The indoor had a building permit, the stable had a building permit, all of this stuff had building permits. Then subsequent to that time, we went in to get these storage buildings and the quarantine barn. I obtained special, like a site plan. I guess it's a horse farm, so it would have been site plan and special exception approval. And I delivered them to the client, who was a lawyer, and foolishly, I assumed that, and he's a friend of mine too, so I'm not trying to beat up on anybody. These things happen. I gave him the approval from you guys. He built them, and never got a building permit. They were small. Probably no one ever saw them going up.
Yeah.
He assumed that's what he needed. My apologies for any confusion on that, but they've been built, and they've been there for almost 20 years now.
You did the inspection, George?
No.
No?
I don't recall this. When was this done? When was it approved?
The approval for the indoor and the stable, I think, was before 2006. I think that was,
Yeah, left it.
Oh.
yeah,
Left
yeah,
in 1998.
The 2006
Yeah, like 2009.
approval was
Okay.
the lapsed approval that I'm talking about. And then he sold it, and I didn't represent him in the sale, and I didn't represent the purchaser. The purchaser had a New York lawyer, and then the purchaser came to me, and I guess the New York lawyer, the seller wasn't aware, I don't think there was any ill intent here, the seller wasn't aware that these weren't covered by building permits. The New York lawyer, I'm just gonna come right out and say it, tend not to be as particular as us guys are, as making sure that everything has a
Yeah.
permit. So I got a call from the current owner, saying, can you help us out, because we're being told we don't have permits for these. It was approved, lapsed, but no building permits. And they're small enough so that somebody probably.
Yeah, it slips under the radar.
Yeah,
it
went under
happened.
the radar. I don't think there was any ill intent here.
No.
We're not saying that. we're just
No,
clarifying.
but just, but in any event, that's where we are.
So
And then
the drainage easement,
Excuse
what,
me?
the drainage easement that you
Drainage
mentioned?
easement that was probably came out of the subdivision.
Right.
And one of the other things that the new owner noted, brought it to my attention, was the paddock was in the drainage easement by, I don't know, Brent, was anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 feet. And I said, you're going to the planning board, it's probably not affecting
Right,
drainage flow, but get it out of there.
yeah.
It's just, so that there's not an issue. One could argue that, it's, as long as it's not it's not an improvement per se, and it's not affecting any drainage flow, but you go to the planning board, just get it out of there. So that's,
So he just has to make it narrower, or shift it?
no, he's shifting it, making it a little bit, he's shifting it, but making it a little bit bigger. Brandon, you might want to explain, you probably know.
Just identify yourself.
Brant Reiner from Nelson Pope and Voorhees. Just to add some clarifying points on this. The sand paddock was approved as part of the site plan approval,
Oh, yes.
but they did construct the fence when the new owners took ownership of it, and they bumped it out. And when they came to us, we're like, well, the survey needs to be updated. When they updated the survey, they realized they were in the drainage easement. So we are asking the planning board to reapprove the sand paddock, recognizing that we are gonna move the entire thing outside of the drainage easement. The drainage easement is part of the subdivision approval, So there is evidently some kind of town engineering requirement for it. So we have no intentions of regrading in it. We're just gonna keep it in its natural state and make sure that all of the fencing associated with the sand paddock is outside of the drainage easement.
I think it was very common in those Bridgehampton subdivisions, because a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff was swept,
They're all
swales
swales, yeah.
existed for years.
A lot of them on Water Lumber Lane too, yep.
To make sure that the drainage is, so better policy, just get the thing out, all the way out of it.
Very true.
And all of the, to Mr. Mutu's point, all of the drainage features, driveway, everything that's impervious was all part of the original site plan approval, and none of that has changed, from what we can see, at least looking at the site plan. It is under engineering review by Mr. Houghton in the town engineering division. We are addressing some of his comments right now. Again, clarifying that exact point, that there's nothing that's going on here other than the patio and this small full therapy shed that is a roof or has any kind of impervious structure that would need to have any kind of drainage associated with it. These were all approved as part of the 2014 site plan approval, these three buildings. And drainage was associated with them, and I did confirm with the owner's rep that there is drainage intact. There's dry wells and leaders and gutters associated with this.
So I guess the original approval of the plan was 2006, and then 2014, those extra paddocks were approved. But
Well,
they-
these three buildings were
Not
approved.
paddocks, I'm sorry, there's three, the storage and the quarantine.
Yep.
Anyway.
Any further questions, board members? Is there anyone in the public who wishes to be heard on Seashore Stables? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Very good. This is a public hearing. We'll entertain a motion to close at the 10-day written comment period.
Motion?
Motion by
A
George,
second?
second by Kate. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
Good evening.
Good evening.
See you, John.
Safe home. Anthony, what is the status of item 4?
So, Curtis is here,
Okay, we're ready to go with
so I
that?
think we're ready to go.
And we have notice?
We do.
Very good. I'll read the notice. Please take notice in accordance with local law 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, January 11, 2024 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled 90 North Sea Mecox Road. The application consists of a standard plan with 5 lots and a new subdivision road, and a density incentive plan with 8 flag lots on a 3.19 acre property situated in the R20 zoning district, Hamilton North Sea, tax map number 900, 112-2-22. Very good. Welcome.
Good evening, Curtis Highsmith, the Executive Director for the Town of Southampton Housing Authority. This application has been a long, lengthy process itself. Initially, we acquired the property. When we did, we looked at zoning being approximately R20 in this area. So we saw this opportunity to do a 6-lot subdivision, single-family homes, with the anticipation of doing accessory apartments above, either above garage or some type of accessory apartment. It's part of kind of the guideline and outline of Southampton's Affordable Housing Initiative. We were here today to present that before this board. And then I met with several CAC members on a number of occasions in the community, and there were some concerns about the subdivision itself, but they felt that there may be other ways to try to produce the type of density we're looking for, but at the same time not necessarily doing a subdivision. However, we would like to look at the report and have the report drafted for the agency so that we know exactly the parameters and also the opportunities and options that we do have. But it would be the parcel is approximately 3.2 acres. Again, it was supposed to be half-acre zoning with flag lot or a potential private road, depending on what planning has suggested. So at this point, we'd like to hear from the planning report to see what their findings or their recommendations are. But at the same time, we would also be entertaining, just for the record, possible zoning change and allowing for 9 homes at some point in the future. So I'm just letting you know that we are looking at this today. We're presenting the 6-lot subdivision, but the community discussed supporting us and writing a letter of support for a zoning change. So that's also an option we would be looking for as well.
What zone would you seek?
When I spoke with Janice, MF 44 works, and it surprised me too because it's the same zoning we did over at Spionk, but through the MF 44 it allowed for single-family home under single ownership. So the housing authority or our not-for-profit entity would own the land itself, and then in some type of agreement we would have the homes scattered based on our properly placed, so it would look more like a subdivision or community under the zoning change.
Without accessory apartments. So 9 homes without accessory.
With right now, the community is not too much in favor of accessory apartments. I'm still trying to sell the opportunity and option and the viability. We recognize that not everyone wants to be a landlord, so to force a potential first-time homebuyer into that responsibility may not be the correct process at this time. If there's an opportunity, an option where we do have 1 or 2 units that are able to have accessory apartments, maybe that's the possibility. But that's after having a conversation with the homeowner and seeing if they're willing to do so.
Curtis, in a situation like that, say, let's go to the first model where it's 6 homes with accessory apartment. Does the housing authority vet the tenant in the accessory apartment?
If there's going to be an accessory apartment, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we would have a vetting process because it would have to be income qualified.
Yeah.
So we would have to do income qualifications. We would do annual inspections. We'd do annual recertifications. Everything would have to still run under our program.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you get the flow, the septic flow for the project?
We were looking at the Fuji system. I believe it's CME. I forgot the exact the technology itself, but it allowed for the density.
Okay.
Two of the units for the entire site.
So it would be on site?
It'll be on site, and beyond. To be honest with you, the actual impact, visual impact, it would be account to probably 6 cones that are on the ground, but they would be ground level. It wouldn't have to be bermed. There would be no fencing around. It really, from an environmental as well as a visual impact, it would be very little on site.
That is one system then for all of the houses?
It would be 2 systems.
2 systems for all
Two
the houses.
systems.
So they wouldn't have the individual sanitary systems?
We would take care of the entire sanitary system. We would own the land. We would take care of the sanitary system.
Okay.
More importantly, you probably know I'm a little bit obsessive when it comes to our properties. If you drive by or you ride by any of our parcels, you know we're meticulous about the way they look. So that's the reason why the housing authority would rather have control over the oversight of the parcel to ensure lawns are taken care of, removal, snow removal. If there's any issues or violations or any complaints, we're contacted. There's accountability, and I think the community really appreciates that as well.
Great. We certainly applaud affordable housing east of the canal, Curtis.
We're trying our best.
And you're
There's
doing
not a lot of
great.
opportunity out there.
I know.
We're trying our best.
Believe it. We feel your pain. No one from the public is here. Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to comment?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, we'll do a 10-day written comment period then, Curtis, and thank you so much for your efforts.
Or should we just keep it open pending the conversation? How do you want to do
I
that?
think he wants the report.
Yeah, he wants to report.
This sort of came out of me and Janice, when I got an email saying that we're gonna, poll and withdraw and look at this angle, but we said, why don't we just proceed, get a report, so we're gonna proceed with the report, and we'll do that one of the next meetings, easy enough.
So we'll do 10-day written comment period. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Craig,
Second.
second by Kate, all in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions? Thank you again, Curtis.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by George, second by Craig. We are adjourned.